Welcome to the When Wit Happens podcast. This is a podcast that helps you find ways to celebrate and live your best life, even when stuff happens. Now here's your host, Whitney West.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today I have a special guest with me. Her name is Mahogany, and I was on Facebook just scrolling like I usually do. I probably should have been doing something productive, but as we know, procrastination rules a lot of times. And I came across a video about a young lady with a chronic condition, and she was just living her life to the fullest. And as you all know, that is my thing. Like, I'm doing the most despite it all, and she just fit that story. And because this season is a season about living in abundance despite everything else, I wanted to invite her on. So I'm going to have her tell you a little bit about herself now.
Hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Mahogany Geter. I am 23 years old, and I am from Knoxville, Tennessee. And the condition I have is called lymphedema. It's pretty much the system in my body that flushes out fluids doesn't work properly. So the fluid kind of like builds up and retains, and yeah.
So I know a couple people who have your condition, but I had never seen it like show up in the way it's shown up for you. So if people will be able to see on the screen, I'll have pictures of both of us on the screens for people to see, but it's in your leg, right? Just one leg? Or is it just primarily showing up in that one leg?
Honestly, it's on my like whole left side. Like, if people, it's just my leg is the most, of course, noticeable. But if people ever look, you can see like one of my hands is bigger than another, or one of my arms is bigger than another. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I never realized that it can affect something like that could affect just like one side, but it makes sense. Chronic illnesses are so weird and how they show up in
for real
people. And even yourself, you like, some days I'm like, I got this, I'm used to this. And then it's like, oh, I'm gonna throw you a curveball.
Man, that's so true.
All kind of craziness. And so, I was in my 20s when I got diagnosed, and it kind of took me a while to kind of get used to stuff. How old were you when you noticed that something was different?
Matter of fact, I had asked my mom about this, and I've had this since I was born. She told me once they did my footprints that they saw that one was bigger than another.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's so interesting. Especially that it was like already like, okay, it's this side. It's always so wondrous to me thinking about like all the stuff that can go on like while we're being created and the stuff your body just decides,
It's like we're a big giant science experiment. You're like, what?
Yeah, like I hate to say, like, anytime I say it, like, and I'm on video, I say like things can go quote unquote wrong, but it's like it's such like a miraculous experience. It's like if you had like with a regular experience, a science experience, like nobody's 100% ever, right? So like even with like the current like pandemic or whatever, we have these vaccines, and it's like it's not gonna be 100%. And it's kind of like with us too, we're big science experiences, experiments, and like there's gonna be some variation on how it happens. And this is just our glitter, what makes us different and extra special. Even if it can be very annoying at times. But that's why I like speaking to people like you, who is like, you have through some kind of way figured out how to live abundantly despite it. So since you've had it since birth, like how was it like going through, those trying times of middle school and high school and all that with the condition?
I would say when I was younger, it was really hard mentally because I don't know, the mentality of a child. You're vulnerable, you're weak, and well, I don't know if I want to say weak, but let me just say you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
in school is where like other kids my age, especially when I was real young, would ask me about my condition, but grown adults really wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I can walk somewhere like with my mom or something, and it's like I feel the eyes of a bunch of adults on me, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is uncomfortable. Like,
it can be very uncomfortable because I have oxygen. So it's like people will look and it's just like, you know, you think as a child you're supposed to learn manners, but I think at a certain point, you know, children have a curiosity that adults seem to lose. And it's like they think they're being whatever by not saying anything, but it's like you staring at me. So either you see it and you just mind your own business and look away, or if you're so curious, say something. Like,
exactly.
Say something, like whatever. What are you thinking? Something? You need help? You think I'm cute? Tell me I'm cute. What is it? But like,
oh my gosh,
and parents will be so embarrassed. And like, I remember I had a little boy at my old like apartment complex. I was getting out the car and he was like, hey, my grandma has that. He was like, are you okay? And I was like, yep, it's my oxygen. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, it's fine. Like, he didn't say anything wrong. He just associated with like his grandmother and it's okay, you know. And then he would like wave at me sometimes from then. And I was just like, that was just so like, oh, I've seen somebody with this, I'm gonna tell her. Like it was so innocent. But like the parents were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, for what? He didn't do anything wrong.
I go through that so much. Like, I would be out and people's kids would be like, oh, you know, what happened to your leg? And the parents be like, no, don't ask them. No, it's okay. I was born this way. It's my condition. You know, God just made me different. But, you know, you're really pretty. Can we be friends? And they're like, sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, they get it a lot more, and it's just like we can open up dialogue. Like when you try to like ignore stuff, that's what like others people, you know, like not everybody's going to be the same. People will look different, people will be different, and if like normalizing that people will be different will just make it okay. It's like, okay, I can ask, I'm curious, you learn something. Some people feel way about being asked about their condition, but it's like some stuff is like, okay, that's going to be a curiosity. Like if I have on oxygen, people will be like, are you okay? And it's like, I can choose what I want to share, but it's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I understand it's a curiosity and I really don't care if people ask, just like you said, you know, because people are going to wonder. It's just, I'm all about, as long as you ask me respectfully, then I'm pretty fine.
Yeah, the respect definitely has a lot to do with it. Like people like they don't say like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, don't give me nothing, what's wrong with you? You know, right. Kind of thing. It's like, oh, if you're like, oh, I noticed you're on oxygen, or just as a lead-in or anything, or I noticed that your leg is bigger, or just something to lead in. Like we obviously know you noticed it. So exactly. That can be like people's lead-in. If anybody is listening and who's like curious, just kind of be curious. Like a lot of times people like get scared just to say something, but like curiosity takes away that abrasiveness. You're like, I was wondering, curious kind of thing, and they help people let their guard down for sure.
Right, like you said, I feel like there's no issue with, you know, because we're gonna have to educate people on, you know, our conditions, because they probably don't see it all the time. So when they ask, it's like, okay, I have, you know, I got this oxygen, or I have this leg that's bigger than other. This is why. There you go. Can we break the ice?
Yeah, like let's just go ahead and get it out the way, because I'm walking around and about forgetting about it myself.
For real. I mean, I don't know. My mom always says I'm so straightforward, but I'm like, I don't know. I've had this forever. So it's like, you kind of have to be straightforward.
Yeah, you do. It's like, it's no need in me like hiding it. Like for you, it's like, it's there. You're continuing to live your life, and it's like, it's just something you already have to like deal with. And like people put a lot of their, I think, how they think they would deal with it, because they absolutely don't know. and try to put it onto other people. It was like when I was watching your video and you were talking about, yeah, I like to get in these little shorts. And I was like, girl, you better.
Oh, thank you.
I know that's right. Don't have people thinking you can't wear whatever because you know this leg is like whatever. It's like, no, we're gonna work it out.
Honestly, yeah, just gotta make it work the best way that we can. And yeah, I hate that people have like their own ideas of like how you would live your life or how you would be with like a medical condition or something. It's like, no, I'm gonna try to do what you do too. It might be a little different, but I'm gonna still try to do it if it makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like we can do the same things and maybe adjust it to what our actual needs are at the moment or how we want to do it. But it's like we can make it happen. You know, it's just y'all just got to deal with it. Like we fine. We've come to it.
Like, are y'all okay?
It's like, are you good? So what made you start sharing on social media?
Honestly, I don't know. I just felt like as I started becoming like more in my like 20s or whatever, I didn't want to hide. I got tired of hiding. Like people saw me in public, but for the longest, I would never post myself on social media.
Okay.
So I had like the idea of, well, I didn't have the idea. Someone wanted to take pictures of me. Then I had the idea, maybe it's time for me to just come on out there.
Yeah. And so how did you feel about those pictures? Like, what were your thoughts when somebody was like, I want to take pictures?
Is this real? I'm such a skeptical person. Sometimes I'm like, you really want to take pictures of me? I'm like, why? And my brain, I'm like, why? But I don't know. I contemplated for a little bit, and then I finally just hit the person up, and we emailed, talked on the phone. And the very first time I took pictures was like in 2017. I think it was my 20th birthday when I very first came out to the pictures. But yeah.
Yeah. So how did it feel when you were taking it?
Nervous, because I ain't never done nothing like that.
Yeah.
Like I might have had like this, I don't know, like false sense of confidence. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna kill it. And then as soon as you get in front of the camera, like, oh, wait a minute.
The camera is a different beast. I know, right? It's just you kind of freeze up when you're on the other side. But like you are a gorgeous woman. And so like and your confidence like shows through like on your pictures. And that's what I like really, really love about it. That shines through. So I know it's like I often say like a lot of times people have this like negative connotation with chronic illness, and a lot of us are living lives that don't look like that, but we don't often get pushed to the main street. A lot of times it just kind of looks like, oh, it's a lot of woe is me stories. But I find that a lot of times because of our condition, like we're forced to find other avenues that we would have never known that we were like amazing at and like good at it to shine in. Because baby, these pictures, they're everything.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I don't know, and I always tell people, I'll be like, even though I am a little bit more comfortable, I'd be like, I still get nervous. They be like, girl, how? You can't even tell.
Yeah,
look, I might have a good looking face, but my stomach is doing backflips.
That's a good sign though, because it's like it means you have like good energy. Like I say, somebody told me once that like your nervousness and like excitement are like in the same area in your body or something like that. So it's like it all kind of like jumbles up together, and so like you're just excited, you're like hopeful, like all this good stuff, nerves. So it's like it's a good feeling. And I was like, okay, I can respect that. You know, that's right, because that means I'm here, I'm alive, I'm feeling it, I'm not taking it for granted. So that's always a good thing to me to feel that.
And honestly, I wish maybe, I don't know, if I speak it to the atmosphere, I don't know. I have a bad habit of saying, I don't know. And somebody told me I really need to stop doing it because I'm blocking my blessings. But if I do get to the mainstream, I don't know. I feel like disabilities should be out there, if it makes sense. Like, how can I interpret it good? Like, we always see like our different ideas of like beauty and stuff, but you never see anyone really with like a disability.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, maybe we should, like, that should change.
It definitely should. Representation, definitely matters, especially I think for, Black and brown women. It's like you really don't, see it a lot. Especially like it's on a level, like you said, make it to like the mainstream. And it's just like, wow, like where are we? We're barely seeing ourselves sometimes in the mainstream anyway. And then like there's really nobody who looks like you or has dealing with different things. And it's like I've seen a lot of different celebrities probably in the last year or so, I guess, with everything going on, feeling more vulnerable, saying they have like this chronic illness, chronic condition. It's like, it's great, but it's also like the comments I see from people is like very much like, oh, woe is me, or it's like, oh, you're so strong, you're so this. But I'm like, y'all already know these people. And so it's like easy for you to accept it. And like, exactly. I wonder how like other regular people coming out with like different messages about it, like how they would see it. But it's like, okay, a celebrity said they have this condition, but also it still doesn't get more hype because like Serena Williams almost died having the pulmonary embolism, but people don't care, as much. It still hasn't become an issue. So it's like, this is how hard this will be a case for us to do this, but it does not mean it's impossible, because like part of my mission in like sharing my condition is highlighting other people with chronic conditions, helping people, get diagnoses and all kind of stuff. And because I just think that it's a hard area, especially for Black and brown women, because women already have a harder time getting diagnosed.
For real.
Like brown women have a harder time. If it's not like something obvious, they're gonna be like, you making it up.
Yeah, you be like, what? You be like, come on now, what would I make this up for? Honestly, I wish I could, but no, this is very much real.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about like what it's like living with your condition, because I think that also what happens sometimes with people on the outside looking in, they reduce it to like the one thing, like, oh, they're like, I wear oxygen, so I just have a little trouble breathing, and maybe that fixes it, quote unquote. Or they may say, oh, her leg is just big, that's it. But tell us kind of what it's like living with your condition.
Like, okay, living with it, I would say if you want to talk like everyday type of things.
Yeah.
Walking, of course, I can walk. I might not be able to walk as fast or anything like that. I can go upstairs and stuff, but my leg is it's like almost an extra 100 pounds on me. So my energy gets drained a whole lot more quicker. Like if I'm going up the stairs with my family, they could go up and be fine. Me, I'm about ready to pass out.
Right.
And then like with clothing, that's really the biggest struggle, because they don't make clothes that's going to fit, one big leg and one little leg. So I kind of have to like hunt for things that are like stretchy or things that might be really big on my little leg, but it fits the other leg perfectly. So my pants kind of look weird. I don't know, but yeah. And then not to mention, it is heavy.
Yeah.
I won't lie to nobody about that. It is heavy, but I've done my best to manage it.
Yeah. And it does it ever like, will it continue to get bigger?
Honestly, I want to, yes, if I don't do something about it, which I am now in the process of going to physical therapy.
Okay.
Where in physical therapy, they do a lot of these like draining techniques where they train your fluid to pretty much go back through your heart and flush out through your kidneys, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So instead of it staying in just one place, they kind of help move the system around.
Got it. And so how long have you been doing that? And is that something like you just found out about?
No, I've done physical therapy a lot. It's just, this is like another struggle with the condition. It's like I will start physical therapy, my leg will get really small, and then once insurance will cut it right off. And then I had to try to go to therapy again, do the same thing. And I'm kind of in the same process.
That's so interesting. Like, I think that's another struggle that people don't realize. It's like sometimes you have to find doctors who will be like, it's like they're not supposed to quote unquote lie, but they have to really understand what's going on and also know how the insurance works. Because I know I've had a doctor say that I know that your oxygen reads normal at this time, but you're walking around most of the time and it's not going to. But he said if I told them it was this, they would cut off your oxygen and you actually needed to live. And it's like, I want us to have different, doctors and stuff who kind of think ahead of that. It's like, okay, it's gone down, but if we don't continue this or don't do whatever we need to do to continue, it's going to come right back. And your health is not going to do well, and it's going to cost them more. So they're like, less, whatever. So insurance doesn't understand that. It's like, it's going to cost you more if I get into the bad state where I had to come in the first place. Like, it's cheaper to maintain it, than what it would be to keep going back and forth. But it's like, it's so interesting that we have to like try to go through these struggles to find care when we're dealing with these conditions.
Exactly. That's why I was like, there's just a constant battle with the insurance companies. And honestly, sometimes, which I'm not gonna lie, that's why sometimes I do slack off. Not on purpose, but it's like a feeling. It's like every time I make progress, it gets cut off. So I'm like, well, I know I'm have my leg forever, but I was like, God, Lee. It's like I get it small, insurance cuts it off, and then it comes back. I'm like, you know what, Mahogany, you might as well just try to live with it the best way you can.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I have gotten cellulitis, and which is a skin infection, and I was in the hospital for a couple days. So I was like, okay, well, your health is like, okay, you done had your little hot girl moment, but you need to get back in the physician's care. So I'm like, okay, all right.
It's like, girl, you need to get it together. We're not gonna do this for long.
Exactly. And that time doctors kept telling me, you're really young now and your body can fight off the infection, but once you get older, it's really gonna take a toll. So I was like, okay. Yeah. I need to get it in now.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, yeah, your body, because I mean, as we're getting older every day, it's like our body does become a little, defenses come down because it's been here for forever. So it's like, it is harder to fight off those things. So you kind of have to get it together now. And that's good that you are working on that. And while simultaneously like accepting who you are, but like also working to have your body be in the best condition it can be in to help you, deal with your condition. So does anybody else in your family have this condition or anything like it?
No, I have gotten this condition from my father, who I've never met. I've heard it was hereditary, but I have got it from my father. Like I said, didn't mean to repeat myself, but yeah.
You're good. Yeah. So yeah, I've only known like a couple people who've had it, but I didn't know if it was hereditary or anything else. But that's so interesting how that just comes together. Like we were talking about before, it's like a science experiment of like, what are you gonna get? Like, what are the dice is gonna roll? And like,
yeah, like what is the outcome gonna be?
Yeah, what is the outcome gonna be? So yeah, that's really interesting. So what do you think, like, what do you want to do with like your social media or your career? Like, what are your aspirations?
Okay, so my aspirations, I would say, of course, is because I like what you said, of course, to encourage, to teach people to love themselves, the body that they're in, but also, focus on your health because, that's important. And honestly, I don't want a lot of money, but I want enough to take care of like my single mom and my sisters. I'd be like, if I can help people and take care of like my own family, of course I would give back too. But if I could do those things first, I think I would be happy.
Yeah, that would be great. And one of the things that I tell, so I also coach women with chronic illnesses, is that a lot of times we have these things about money, as well as like people think that, oh, you're just like, I don't know how you use yourself to make money, but it's like people are like, oh,
man, I've had someone ask me, is my leg real? I was like, what?
Wow.
All the things I can do to try to scam or finesse, I will Photoshop up. Oh, that's a good Photoshop.
Right. It's because that's Premiere. Then you need to hire me for that. Then hire me to be your Photoshop person if you believe it's that fake. Okay.
Exactly, man.
If you believe that, but it's like I don't even believe in that. It's like we're dealing with these conditions already. Healthcare is astronomical in this country, and to think that like, okay, what if someday something happens and we can't work a regular job or something else and we have to have healthcare? It's like I need to make as much money as possible and save as much money as possible to handle it. And it's like, if this condition is doing whatever it's doing to me, then I'm gonna use what I call, I say, my tink tink privileges and use it back. I'm gonna make the most of what it's doing to me. If it's gonna mess with me, I'm gonna use it, to do. And it's like you said before, it's like I'm doing good, but I feel as though I'm fine profiting from it because I'm dealing with something. This is my truth. And there's nothing wrong with getting compensated for what you're going through. And I think people who don't look like us have no problem with that. But sometimes we're taught that like, oh, we're supposed to just be grateful for whatever we can get. It's like, no, let's get the world and then be grateful for that.
Yeah, like I'm grateful for everything God has given me.
Amen.
I just be like, I don't know. Cause now I have I got my family, and I've always been telling my mama, I said, Mama, if I get rich, I'm gonna buy you a big house just for the heck of it. She was like, what? She like, Mahogany, please don't do that. I said, watch.
That's right. Let that be your goal. Like, even if people like, real estate is a good, investment anyway. So it's like, you will become wealthy. You will get the money that you deserve, and you will be able to treat your mother to whatever you want her to have. And I really believe that.
Thank you.
You're young and you're already doing something amazing and groundbreaking just by telling your story. So how did the video, I don't even remember who did the video I saw on Facebook or whatever, but how did that come?
Yeah. Okay, girl. So like the company, the people that did the video or whatever, which yet again, I was skeptical thinking it was a scam. The people are not even American.
Oh.
They're Britain. They're like somewhere in the UK somewhere. And this woman, I think her name was Martha, she had messaged me on Instagram asking me to be a part of it. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. But when she messaged me, it was honestly like a year ago. And then for some time, I didn't hear nothing from her. So I'm like, okay, this must have been fake. But then she messaged me again. She was like, hey, sorry, I haven't contacted you in a while. We moved to a new company, blah, 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 blah. Do you still want to, do the show or whatever? I was like, okay, sure. Like, I bet this can help a lot of people. So I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. So we contacted for like months, and then apparently they had a videographer in Nashville, Tennessee. Oh. So he drove from Nashville to Knoxville, Tennessee, where I'm located, and I believe it's like a 2-hour difference between the two. And once you know, he videotapes literally like all day, like 9 in the mornings, like 5 or 6.
Wow.
And then he told me it's gonna take like a month to edit. I was like, okay. And I used to just pray. I'd be like, Lord, I hope this help a lot of people. I hope this be successful and help a lot of people. I used to just pray a lot. And then once you know, that thing dropped and he showed out. I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, let me find her on Instagram before like everybody. I was like, I'm sure she's already getting messages, but I'm like, no, this is like meant to be for me to see her like doing this. So I was like, I have to like get in contact with her. But like when I saw it, I was just like, this is really amazing. It was done well. And it's funny that you say they're from like the UK, because it's been so interesting seeing that. I've seen like a lot of documentaries about chronic conditions have come from there. And I guess because it's like the US system is what it is, but they get a lot more care over there. And they even have, I think it's in England at least, that they have like a stipend that you get every month, even if you work a job. That you get.
Yeah, I remember they like, America, y'all need to step y'all game up.
I know, right? The young lady I talked to, we were on Clubhouse, and she said she was like thinking about moving to America. So she was asking like what kind of things we have. It's like, if you work, you're asked out of whatever. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't matter. She has a really nice job there, but she still, because of her conditions, gets the maximum amount, which I think converted to like $800 and something a month in US dollars.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, that like $800 could like change people's lives here.
Yeah.
Like, imagine they're sending like these stimulus checks now that, you know, don't even equate to what $800 a month equals. And that's really helping some people. Is not really enough. But imagine if people with chronic conditions, like taking care of medicine, being able to take off work or be able to have a fund for like if you're not feeling well and don't want to cook or just things like that. But you know, if you can still work, it's not going to affect you getting that money. I was like, that's so interesting. They have a lot more resources and then some people are more dedicated to it, because I guess then it becomes also a little more normalized too.
Man, that makes me want to move to the UK.
Right. I know, right? I was like, oh, I always thought about Canada or something, but you know that even now they're like, Canada is like, oh no, you're not from here. Don't be trying to come over here and get our stuff.
Man, look, we know what y'all about.
We know what y'all trying to do. But I'm like, okay, UK, y'all might be looking like a snack over there across the pond.
Right, looking real edible.
real edible, like juicy. I like that. it makes a lot of sense. But yeah. So who else has like reached out to you, or like what things have happened since that's aired?
Okay. Since that's aired, I think I've been on the local news in my city, my little bitty city in Knoxville. It's not really a big city like Memphis or anything like that, but I've been on like the local news of there, and I don't know, it's been crazy. Like, I'm not used to this at all.
Yeah.
I'm very happy, but I'm not used to this. And then I've had people like from all over say, oh, you should go to Spain, or you should go to India, or you should go here. And I'm like, that's great, but I'm still a regular person. I don't have the money to go here, and here. But I know the intention is good, so I'll be like, well, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. And people are like, you should go here, you should go there.
Yeah, and I'd be like, you know, thank you for the suggestion, but I have to rob a bank and then try to go there.
Be like, send me the itinerary, pay for it, and we can figure this out.
Exactly.
Yes. That's
overall, it's been like mainly a bunch of support. Now, have I had some people say I should just amputate my leg? Yeah, I don't get that, but yeah. But other than that,
yeah, that's interesting that people would say that. But that kind of brings me back to that other point when you were talking about the clothes. Like I quickly thought about the fact that they, like, some brands like just recently in the recent years just started making like clothes for like amputees, to like where, you know, the one leg or the one arm or whatever is kind of closed off, or they sell like the shoes by one, things like that. And so it's like, I wonder if any of those companies would ever think about also like extending their lines out to help people who have who are lymphies.
yeah. And, you know, that's why I've been hearing a lot recently. Like, honestly, I didn't know, like, I'll always know, of course, people with chronic illness, but I didn't know the community was so big until I started putting myself out there more. Yeah. I never realized that.
Yeah, the community is huge, because I try to tell people too that a lot of people don't realize really what the definition of like a chronic condition is, because they only see like the big ones. They're thinking like, oh, you have to be sick and ill and like whatever. And I'm like, no, it's not that. Like, it's literally defined as a condition that you have for 3 or more months. And so like, people with anxiety or depression or migraines, it's like those are chronic conditions. And at least in the United States, I think that's the stat that like 6 out of 10 people have at least one like chronic condition. So it's like it's more populous than we're not in the minority. But because people don't, it's their medical condition, they don't have to share. But it's why things become stigmatized. Is because people don't talk about it unless they're like, oh yeah, by the way. It's like, oh well, and it's like, I can't hide this one. So it's like, but
right, it's like I might as well just go ahead and tell you now.
Yeah, I might as well. But it's like, I think also this inspires people who have illnesses that they can kind of camouflage to come forward, because I've said recently that I see a lot in the chronic illness community. It's like they're caught between like pretending they're fine and then trying to have people explain, like understand that they have an illness. I'm like, well, if you spend most of your time pretending that you're okay, how can somebody else like suddenly believe you too? Because you don't believe yourself most of the time either. So like, that hiding thing is like not doing you any good either. That's why people don't believe you.
I know everybody's like entitled to their own emotions and stuff, but I agree with that. And it's like, I don't know, I'll be quick to say I'm not perfect. No, sometimes I'm not okay. Like, but I'm here. Like,
yeah, that's why I always encourage people. That's the thing to start with. It's like, let's be, at least, you don't have to tell people what's going on, but like at least be truthful when like asked how are you doing. Like, it's like, okay, I'm not all right. It's like, but it'll be awkward for them. It's like, but how is it for you? It's like, don't worry about them. If you start telling the truth about how you're feeling that day and they don't want to hear it, they'll stop asking. But that don't have nothing to do with how you answer the question.
Exactly. That's all I was like, just be truthful. But yeah, with clothing, I don't know, it's weird. I got a little sister, she's 12, and she'll be like, Haggy, I know it's hard for you to get clothes. When I get older, I'm gonna make a clothing line for disabled people. I said, okay, baby, I'm gonna be waiting on it.
Yes, and that's so crazy. It's like it inspires like people who to like, but she could become like a top clothing designer because of that. And like it can even be like, you know, people tend to think like, oh, if it's for people with disabilities, it's gonna be this frumpy thing. But it's like for you, like those dresses with the open slit, like, baby, she could be serving those and all kind of stuff too, you know, and just having the cute clothes that stretch and fit, but look like it could be like this amazing thing. And it's like, it comes from you having, you know, and being open with your condition and, you know, the life you live and her wanting to see you live like even better.
Yeah, I hate when it comes to clothes, like you said, with this and with being disabled, they always think we gotta wear something frumpy or depressing. I'm like, no, like I'm gonna find me something cute and bright and just radiate like positive stuff. Why I gotta be all frumpy and depressing just because I'm disabled? No.
Like, no, I'm good, love, I'm good.
Right, we're good over here.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. So I like that. That's like been an inspiration.
And that's something I love about little kids, because that innocence to them, like, they don't mean no harm, and then especially when they're used to being around it, they're just, I don't know, just like so caring and loving.
I say, yeah, I'm okay. It's like, oh, you really you care. It's like I love that about kids and stuff. So is there anything that you're gonna be doing lately that you will want the people on the podcast to look out for?
I think the main things I'm doing right now, I'm currently in the progress of trying to, plan another photo shoot. And then I have a YouTube channel, and it's pretty much my name, Mahogany Geter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty much going to film, or you could say document, the whole process of me going to physical therapy. I think just keep doing what I've been doing.
Yes, I can't wait to see it. Like, I'm definitely gonna subscribe to your YouTube channel and check you out. And maybe I can have you on my channel or something one day. Too.
Okay.
That would be great. So can you tell everybody how to follow you on social media?
Okay, so on my Instagram, I have 2 accounts. Either or is fine to follow. My one I have is called Lymphedema, is LYMPH.goddess23. And then my other one is model.mahogany with 2 Y's and a G. And let's see.
Yeah, I'll make sure I put the link to both of those in the show notes and on social media. And then I'll also put your YouTube channel down there. So is there anything else you want to leave the audience with before we get out of here?
I don't know. If I can say this, like, I know it's hard, and I know, everyone has their days, but I guess all I want to say is just, stay strong, keep up the faith, and, just keep pushing. Like, we're all in this together. We got this, you guys. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's true too. It's so
true. Like you were saying before, it's like you didn't know the community was like so big or there, but it's like when you realize, even like with a few people who understand, like maybe not your exact condition, but understand what you're going with, it's like so going through is so much more powerful because you're with people who get it. You don't have to like explain it to. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, thank you for listening, and I'll be sure to have all the information down below for you to go ahead and follow.
Thank you for listening to When Whit Happens. You can find Whitney living her best life at thewhitneywest.com and at The Whitney West on social media. Subscribe and follow for updates. Until next time, keep living your best life.